woman who just went online bragging about being the reason 475 people were just arrested. It didn't go the way that you thought, did it? Because the way that you were so happy to share with the world voluntarily that you were the one that contacted ICE, that got that Hyundai plant that was in the middle of being constructed, completely shut down, and over 400 people arrested, most of them being Koreans, which you seemed kind of confused about until you realized that Hyundai is owned by Koreans. And that the reason they had so many people from other countries here was because they knew they were going to have to train Americans to do this job, because all of their instructions from Korea were in Korean. So they got approval to send people here to the United States to construct their massive facility in the way that you were like, now look, there's over 475 jobs that are now going to be available for people in Georgia because they weren't giving these jobs to Georgians. That's right, they couldn't give these jobs to people in Georgia because none of them spoke the language. In her narrative of bringing 475 jobs to people in Georgia are making the world laugh, because anyone who understands that they were just constructing this facility, this was going to be a facility that would have given nearly 9,000 jobs to people in Georgia. She had zero concept of that. All she saw were people from other countries in her state, specifically in her town, and it upset her so much that she contacted ICE and said that she was doing it because they had unsafe working environments and they weren't getting paid enough. So she contacted ICE. Because of her fight for the people of Georgia, they have lost all of their people who were going to train them for the jobs that this facility would have brought. The owners of this facility, the investors, the people paying for it and bringing all of these jobs into the state of Georgia, are now threatening to can it all. That's right, they are going to shut down this construction site, and they are not going to continue building their facility that would have brought almost 9,000 jobs to her state. Would have not known any of this had she not come online and bragged about it. Oh, and she's also running for Congress.
I don't think William Tecumseh Sherman did as much damage to the state of Georgia as that woman who called ICE on Hyundai and their employees, had them all detained, and now South Korea is throwing a massive fit. They sent their own citizens down to train Americans so that they could be fully functional in this factory. Trump and MAGA complain all the time. Where are the jobs? Where are the jobs? They're overseas. Bring them back to America. And then when we finally do, some dumbass, bitch-ass idiot calls ICE and has these people detained. Now South Korea has sent a plane, picked up all their asses, and who knows if they're ever coming back. This is going to take 8,000 plus jobs away from the state of Georgia, and possibly many more, and all this manufacturing that they would have had, all the money this would have generated for the state of Georgia and our country is now potentially gone, and that may just be that little portion. There could be more significant backlash coming from South Korea, Hyundai, any other South Korean company who was thinking of bringing jobs over to America is going to think twice now, because some idiot decided to call ICE. They decided to call ICE on these people and have 400 plus human beings who have done nothing illegal detained. Good job. And this woman is running, I believe, for Congress. Yeah, have fun with that. Republican, Democrat, whatever. I can't imagine anybody in the state of Georgia is on board with what that foolish person did. So, yeah, Sherman may have burned his way to Atlanta, but you set Georgia ablaze as well.
Hey guys, welcome back again to the channel. It's so good to have you. Thank you so much for clicking. When you saw this video, so a lot of palm colored people are now calling out the Karen who called ICE on those South Korean people that were working on that Hyundai factory, right? They are now calling her out and telling her to her face exactly what she did and how she made the state to lose money. She was like, everybody, we need to make sure that American jobs remain for Americans, and people are now calling her out and telling her what she did was wrong to her face. And to think that this woman is actually running for office, and she had come out to make series and series of video. Not only that, she actually deleted her first TikTok account, which people knew her for. Okay, now she has opened a new one and still talking about the same issue. Well guys, I have other clips. Let me let them roll, then I'll come back with a commentary. Let me know what you all think in the comment section, and credit to all creators on this video. Let's go watch.
Hi, as someone who worked on the Blue Oval Ford plant, Blue Oval City up here in Stanton, Tennessee, kind of, in between Jackson and Memphis, I stayed there for about a year last year working on this project. And let me tell you something, a woman who is claiming that she called ICE on that Hyundai plant in Georgia, this is going to be so much bigger than just Hyundai. Okay? Ford itself, the most American car manufacturer you can think of, every single bit of our machinery was set up and programmed by South Koreans. The engineering of the building, the engineering of the machines, every bit of it was done by SK Engineering out of South Korea. Yes, the same SK that is part of SKT T1 Telecom, the big league team. Yeah, Faker, this guy, their engineering branches who designed and set up these machines. What they do is for the years that the plant is being built, because South Korea is heavily invested in our electric vehicle manufacturing and production. So what they do is they design the machines, send them over here, we set them up, millwrights, everything else. We set the iron, we set the building up, we get everything up. And then they come over, set up the machines, and then train American workers how to run the machines. This woman not only just cost Georgia billions of dollars with this plant, because I highly doubt that South Korea will send their workers back. If they do, it's going to be under very strict rules for the Trump administration. If you don't think that word will get around to every other car manufacturer, because it's not just Hyundai. It is Ford, it's Chevy, it's Nissan, Mazda, Toyota, every single one of them. The machines are designed, installed, and set up by South Koreans. When you think of car plants, it's intertwined. So no, you idiots have not only just cost Georgia billions, you've created a massive diplomatic problem that this administration will not be able to handle right. And on top of that, there's a good chance that any of these other car plants that have gone up in the last few years that haven't had their machines set up yet, odds are you've just fucked with those jobs as well. You are talking about tens of thousands of American jobs. Poof, up in smoke. So congratulations, MAGA. Your racism is once again going to cost us billions of dollars because you guys can't get over the fact that people who aren't white are better than you.
Tory Branham is a prime example as to why racism is not only so incredibly short-sighted, but it is also very, very expensive. A couple of points I want to point out is there are over 300 of those people that were arrested and facing deportations, which, by the way, South Korea is sending a plane to take those people back because they're not going to let their people be treated that way. Those people, they were here legally. Let's just get that out of the way. Do you really think that Hyundai and LG and the South Korean government are not going to make sure that their I's are dotted and their T's are crossed, that everything was above board? You really think they're going to do that? Especially when they've invested $6 billion already. They're investing $6 billion. But like I said, this is so short-sighted. So short-sighted. Because not only are those 450 people that were arrested and detained, obviously they're not going to work, but there's another 900 people that were already working at the plant that are now not going to be able to work because the plant shut down. But they were also here. But those South Korean nationals, they were here to train Americans how to do the job. They were here to help get this facility up and running so that way Americans could have those jobs. There was going to be about 8,000 plus jobs for Americans that came from this one plant. For Americans. And then you have the other effects of that too. So not only was this plant going to generate billions in economic growth, but then you also had all the construction workers are now not going to get jobs. American construction workers were now not going to get jobs to build the infrastructure that was going to support that plant, all the roads, all the power lines, all of the things that plant needs. Americans are not going to have those jobs. And then on top of that, you're going to have all the businesses are now not going to pop up because of this. No more new businesses. And the businesses that are already there are not going to see any new income, new revenue coming in. This rural town in Georgia needed that. They needed this. So South Korea is pulling their people back. And it is going to cost Georgia and the United States billions of dollars. This is going to have such huge ramifications. It's already having ramifications. The South Korean president already came out and made a statement about it, and he's not happy. Trump himself worked with South Korea to say, hey, bring manufacturing back to America, especially to avoid the tariffs. He pressured them to do that, and then they did. They invested billions to bring manufacturing to America, to bring Americans back to work, to improve the economy. They were doing these things. And then Tory Branham decides to do this. Called it in. And to all the people that are saying like, oh, they had a months long investigation and the judge signed off on a judicial warrant, like that's not how it went down. They got a tip. They had been working on it for months, but it was all based off of allegations. And they were able to obtain a warrant, and they went in and they got it. They raided a workplace, pulled people away from work who were here legally, that were doing things honestly. They were doing things the right way. Yeah, like I said, racism is so expensive.
It's quite unfortunate how the government will be trying everything in their mind, right, to bring in production into the country, but some people will rather make sure that those things doesn't work instead of allowing them to work. Okay, so this woman is actually also, like, she is in a red state, and of course she is also a Republican, and she's actually coming out for an office, right? And now she's calling out people also who are calling her out and saying that they will make sure that she loses the election and all that by campaigning for another person. Because I saw a video of somebody who was talking about how, let them come together and raise a team that can, campaign very well for the other aspirant. Well, this woman said, people just need to, know that she is actually in a red state where a lot of people will rather vote Republican than any other party, right? Well, that is not just all. Her own people are now calling her out to the truth, okay? You actually called eyes on a factory that they are still building, not like they have finished up. They are trying to set up the equipment, do all the necessary work that is needed, all the technical job, then before they can employ Americans to start working in this factory. Because these guys have always known how this thing work, okay? They have always been the ones, in the forefront. Even back home, okay, in Korea, these people are also the ones who, do their thing. They know how the whole machine, the whole equipment work, right? But instead of her to take her time and find out exactly why it's as if lots of Koreans are working in that place, she decided to call eyes on them. Now, her reasons was that, these people are being paid cheap labor. They were paying them, like slaves and all of that. Why don't they pay them like Americans? You don't know their salary, for God's sake. You just decided to make a call because you felt it was better for you to make that call, for you to answer a hero that you were helping them out, to bring them out from, from wherever cage they are in, because that's exactly what she's trying to prove. Well, she called ICE, and ICE did the highest mass deportation of all time, like highest rate in history, like ICE have ever done, which was in that Hyundai, plants, right? So they went there and picked up every one of them. According to some of the people, they are talking about how, their country is not telling them to come back or bringing them back or sending a plane, like just different narrative on social media, for them to come back to the country. To them, they're no longer safe. Instead of them getting locked up by ICE, okay, the best is for us to bring them back, since we're the ones that sent them in the first place, right? So now, people like her are now calling her out on how she has made the country and also the state to lose a lot of money. Even though she feels that what she did was the right thing to do, that she needed to call ICE, to do their job, because for somebody who is a Karen, what else were you expecting from her? She would definitely call ICE, and also make sure that she is in the right way, like she is in the she acts perfect, okay, because she came out and started defending herself. What baffles me is the fact that this woman actually come out on social media to say that she was the one that called ICE. Like, what exactly were you trying to prove when you came out on social media to tell everybody that you were the one that called ICE on those Koreans who were working in that Hyundai plant? Okay, what exactly were you trying to prove, if not that you wanted to chase clout or something, right? She came out and said she was one that called ICE, and the reason why she did it was because these people come in, take away American jobs, and they are being paid nothing, and a lot of them do not have documentation. Why people are coming out to say these guys actually do have documentation, okay, but it's like a temporary visa that permit them to set up this firm before they go back to their country, because the job will employ American citizens, right? But somehow she called ICE. I doubt if that, if that's plan to continue, okay, because who is going to set up those things and all that? According to some people, they're not speculating that LG and some other, companies are trying to shut down some of them. I don't know how true that is, but yeah, that's speculations on social media. Well, this is one of the things that people talk about, that is very important that people try as much as possible to find the right information, try to ask questions. Why is it that these people are working here? What are they doing here? Okay, and according to everyone, they said they only came to set up that factory to start running. Okay, MAGA has always wanted, bring back American jobs. Let's have Americans working in factories. Can you bring, manufacturers to the US and all of that, which is what is going on here. Okay, imagine a company came and said, okay, let's even establish our power plant here. Let's establish our factory here. And all of a sudden, manufacturing company that have come finally decided to come and set up everything. Somebody is about to ruin the whole thing, okay? And still, she's still very bold on social media, talking so much, like being so loud about it, and talking about how she's not doubling down, how she feels that what she's doing is the best, okay? Even when she had deleted her first TikTok account because a lot of people came for it, she talked about how people and us calling her, sending messages even to her kids' workplaces and all of that. I think that she would have just, you opened a new account, can you let everything go? But she still wants to trend with this particular topic in place, forgetting that she has just made a state to lose, a company, or lose money if at all this company decide to move their, the establishments elsewhere. Well, guys, let me know what you all think in the comment section. Let's have that conversation. Please consider subscribing if you have not already, and don't forget to give the video a thumbs up so that more people can see it. Credit to all creators on this video. See you all on my next. Bye, guys.